Greetings, everyone. My name is Steve McPhail. I'm the director of OET Online, and welcome to another Prep Hour with Steve and Q&A session. And today's focus is going to be capitals and spelling, aspects of the exam where there are always a lot of questions. So I hope to answer some of those for you today and give you some relevant examples. And we'll also have an open Q&A session to answer any questions that you may have leading up to your OET exam. So first of all, just type in and say where you're located and what time it is. It's just gone 5 p.m. on the 24th of February 2021, where I am. What time is it in your location? So tell us your location and time. Hello to Aziz. Aziz is over there in Iran. Welcome. Hello to Zani in the Philippines. And I'll just check all the channels to make sure I can communicate with everyone. So let's check this one here. Just bringing up just a moment. Bear with me, guys, while I set up all my chat boxes. We're streaming on 4 channels today. We're streaming on OET Online, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as OET Center, Facebook, and YouTube. All right, and I am going to just set this up. Make sure I have my pop-up. Hello in Saudi Arabia. I can see more comments coming through. South Korea and India. Lots of different locations. That's excellent. Hello there in Afghanistan. Libya, welcome. Great to see that. And I'll just check Facebook. Who is on Facebook? Let's just have a look at those chats as well. Bear with me as I adjust my screens, everyone. All righty. Okay, everyone, we are good to go. We are good to go. So let's get started. Hello to Zimbabwe. Hello to Saudi, Oman as well. All right. So let's talk about capitals and spelling. Before we do that, just remember, like us on our channels, Facebook and YouTube, and visit us at our website, oetonline.net.au. And if you want to check out our course options, visit the website to check out the free trial course, and that will get you started. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the session. Okay. Firstly, let me ask you a question. Do you ever have any doubts about when to use capitals and when to use lowercase? Is that something that sometimes is a challenge for you? Type in yes if it is, no if it isn't. How do you find use of capitals and lowercase? Just wait for those comments to come in. While I'm waiting, hello to Sudan and Egypt. Aline says yes. Okay. Hopefully I've touched on something that people want to know about. All right, I'm just trying to get my Facebook messaging working here. All right, we got everyone in. Great, I've got Facebook working as well. Wonderful. Okay. At times, yes, good expression there. Okay, well, let's just look at a few things. It's not too hard, but it's worth getting right because it is part of how your language is assessed. So some basic rules, everyone, and I want you to ask questions as we go through this little section, everyone. So firstly, let's look at the first rules regarding medications and diseases. Capitals are required for proper nouns, and proper nouns include the brand names of particular drugs or registered trademarks of the manufacturer. So when you talk about things like a medication name like Zocor or Voltaren or Panadol, you need to use a capital. And my advice for these types of things is follow the case notes when you're unsure. Use the examples in the case notes. Are they using capitals? Are they using lowercase? Try to follow that. Next, you get your the actual chemical constituents or the generic name of the medication. And that should be written in lowercase. Things like penicillin, amoxicillin, furosemide, and so on, you need to use lowercase. Now, the funny thing is, it's not always easy to tell if it is a brand or a chemical constituent there. In that case, if you don't know the name or if you're unsure, just follow what your case notes say, and that will be your safest option. Joanne says, can I use capital letter all throughout? I mean, that's a little bit risky there, Joanne. I suppose if that's your style of writing, only capitals, if you're consistent with it, yes, there are people that write that way. It's slightly non-standard though. Certainly if you're typing, you wouldn't do it that way. My advice is to write how you normally write. Don't try to change your writing style. Right, another question coming through. Use lowercase when it's generic. That's right. So that's what I'm saying. Lowercase for the generics and capitals for the brand, and follow the case notes. Now, the same applies to to diseases. Diseases are always lowercase. Like bowel cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, epilepsy, hypertension. We can say a lot more, but some people have a tendency, they want to use capitals. Maybe they want to make it sound important. You don't have to. Use lowercase. However, there are exceptions, and these are the eponyms, the eponymous medical conditions. So if it's named after a person, Parkinson's disease, Bell's palsy, Alzheimer's disease, or Hashimoto's syndrome, these are named after people and they should have capitals. All right. A question to the audience. Do you guys know any medical conditions that are eponymous apart from what I've put up here? If you know any other ones, and there are many, type them in the chat box now. Now, congratulations to Methodist in Dhaka. You cleared OET. Wonderful. Wonderful to hear. Susan said, is it okay to use all capitals for medicine? No, I don't think it is okay. I think you need to be selective. Use capitals for brand names. Use lowercase for the chemical constituents. So you got to build your knowledge there a little bit, do a little bit of research and know the difference. But when in doubt, follow the case notes. All right. We'll talk about spelling mistakes soon, Howard. We'll talk about that soon, but the simple answer is yes, yes. Okay. Hamdullah says, Hertzsprung disease. Now, that's an interesting one, Hamdullah. That is a disease I have never heard of. A good one from Eileen. How about Japanese encephalitis? Yes, well, you would use capital because you use capitals for names of countries and nationalities. So yes, capital J there. Abdullah's giving some interesting ones. Marfan syndrome. So an interesting medical condition. These are new ones. I guess there are many. Addison's disease. Yeah, that's a famous one, Hala. Well done. Yep. Down syndrome, because that's named after Dr. Downs. Yes. Nice one. COVID-19. COVID. Yes. All right, let's continue. Names of medical procedures do not require capitals. Hemicolectomy, X-ray, cesarean section. If it's a procedure, don't capitalize it. A lot of people have a tendency to capitalize them. Body parts, the same thing. Body parts should always be lowercase, whether it's the heart, an adrenal gland, or a knee. But there is an exception, and here's a question. Can anyone tell me the name of a body part that requires a capital? There's a challenge for you. A body part that requires a capital. Think about that. There's probably a few, but I've got one in mind. See if you can think about what it is. I'll give you a little hint. The one I'm thinking of, it begins with the letter A. A body part, not a medical condition. A body part. Yes, Eileen got it. Achilles. The Achilles tendon. That's named, what, does anyone know what it's named after? Does anyone know? It's named after, actually, let's do that. The Achilles, put that in the right place. The Achilles tendon, it's named after the god Achilles. So there's always exceptions. Anything to do with English language, you will always find an exception. All right. Abdomen gins should be lowercase. All right. So a lot of people got that one. Excellent. Good. So that's the basic rules, not too hard. Proper nouns continuing. Proper nouns name something specific. So other examples, of course, in the OET exam, the first thing you need to do is take the, think about who you're writing to and what their address is. Now, punctuation is important for that section. So you can consider that to some degree a copy and paste activity, except that you've got to format it as you would in a letter. But the key things is just follow the same patterns as in these examples here, everyone. Job titles, the lactation consultant, Mater Hospital, all capitals. Mater Hospital for the place where the lactation consultant works. They're both proper nouns. Another job title, veterinary eye specialist. That's a job title. That person has worked hard to get that job. So we need to treat that with respect. What do you think happens, everyone, if you make that lowercase? If you forget and you put that she is a veterinary eye specialist and you use lowercase, what impact would that have to the reader, do you think? What impact would that have? While you're thinking about that, let's think about a couple more. So institutions, Mary Jones was admitted to Spirit Hospital. It's the name of the hospital. Give it capitals. Dr. Bloomfield works at Weller Point Medical Center. Again, it's the name of a center. Should be capitals. While we're waiting, some great examples coming through. Adam's apple. Nice, Asim. That's a classic. Yep. Hello to Lara in Bristol and Moto in Kerala. Okay. Still waiting to see if anyone's going to answer that question. If I use lowercase e and lowercase s, what impact would that have? Aline says the reader might be confused. I would go so far as to say the reader might be offended. I've worked hard to become a veterinary eye specialist. How dare you disrespect me by not using capitals for my job title? So all these things do have an impact. You do need to demonstrate that respect, and you can do so by using capitals, all right? It's important. Places, including addresses. We want to use like 168 Wickham Terrace. That's a street name, named after somebody probably, and the place, the suburb. All these examples are showing correct use of capitals. And we're also going to use it for titles when they precede the name of a person. The patient was seen by Dr. Smith. Nurse Jones is in charge of patient's care. Okay, let's continue. A few more common ones. Common nouns do not name anything specific. So they don't need capitals. They don't name a place, they don't name a person, they don't name a profession. The patient was admitted to hospital. The patient does not have a family doctor. Steve is a teacher, just a profession, not a job. Yashiro is a doctor. Razor is a dentist, all lowercase. So common nouns, lowercase, proper nouns, capitals. Continuing on. A few more things: holidays, months, days, and seasons. Well, holidays and months and days of the week need to be capitalized. Interestingly, seasons do not. So the baby was born on Christmas Day, capitals. The patient was admitted to hospital, just a general hospital, on January 12th, capitals for the month. Please come and see me on Wednesday, days of the week, need capitals. The vaccination will be available in spring, lowercase for months. Okay, good to remember these things. Now, let's fix up a few errors, everyone. This is the kind of thing we see a lot. The patient was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. All right, I think you can see the error there, everyone. What's wrong with that? How do we fix that? Just wait for those answers to come on through. I'll read the next one. Mrs. Marsh has a history of hypothyroidism, hypertension, and glaucoma. I see this a lot as well. The patient is allergic to penicillin. Patient was referred to Quitline. Community services, including Meals on Wheels and a personal carer, have been arranged. All right. Yes, type should be lowercase. Not only type, it's all lowercase. And you could say diabetes type 2 as well, Zayed. That's right. Okay. The next one, it follows the same pattern, doesn't it? All lowercase. Hypothyroidism, hypertension, and glaucoma. The patient is allergic to penicillin. Penicillin is the active constituent, therefore it should be in lowercase. What about this one? The patient was referred to Quitline. And the next one, the community services, including Meals on Wheels and a personal carer, have been arranged. What about those ones, everyone? Yep, just watch. Make sure you use a capital for Marsh there, Alenchi. Capital for names of the patient. Yes, Eileen, Quitline, because Quitline is the name of an organization. A lot of people, it's amazing how often, but they forget it. They use lowercase all the time. It's the name of an organization, proper noun. What about the next one? Community services. Well, the S can be lowercase, Eileen, because they could be general services, right? General services. but it's the next one. Meals on Wheels, including Meals on Wheels. That's name of an organization. Needs to be capitals. So be careful with that, everyone. Just get it right, because it does have an impact on your overall writing score. Now, we'll talk about reading and listening a little bit later, but now let's move on to next topic, everyone. Well, first of all, handwriting. How would you rate your handwriting? 10 is very neat, 1 is very messy. How would you rate your handwriting? And while I'm waiting, Zaid says, why Meals on Wheels capital? Because it's the name of an organization. It's the name of an organization. That's why. And just the bottom line is, look at the case notes. And if the case notes have it as capitals, you can follow that for organizations. Yep, great, Eileen. Good to know. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is messy, 10 is neat. How would you rate your writing? Well, actually, I might have said the other way. Yeah, 1 is messy, 10 is neat. Okay, so one more time. 1 is really messy, 10 is really neat. How would you rate your writing? Neat. We have some neat. A lot of people are neat. Excellent. Are you sure? 1 is messy, 10 is neat. Eileen's a 5. Come on, doctors are famous for not being neat. Have you ever tried to read a script? They can be really hard, but I can see a lot of really neat people here. Good on you, Tomoko. Sapphire, 10. I'd love to see your handwriting, Sapphire. A lot of people, 8s. Okay. Sandra, a 3. Okay, a little bit of work to do. I have good news for everyone. Handwriting is not assessed. Handwriting is not assessed. So you can be assessed for your grammar, for your sentence structure, for your organization. You can be for your spelling, for your punctuation. All of these things are assessed, but there's nothing in the OET criteria for handwriting. So that's good news. You don't have to worry about that. However, there are a few things, right? It should be legible, so it needs to be readable. But as long as it's readable, then that will be sufficient. Yusuf gives himself a 0. Don't worry, Yusuf. You'll be safe if it's legible. Okay. Now, look at this example I've got here. There's a few problems here with handwriting, though. Look at this. Is this capital or lowercase? Look at these. Capitals or lowercase. Maybe the person, they wrote them bigger. They wanted to write a capital, but it's not a capital, is it? They're lowercase. So do take care, because those are punctuation errors, right? So there are some things you need to be aware of. All right, so you do need to, that needs to go, whoops, that needs to go. I just want to erase that one. We really should write that above the line, and the P needs to go above. So I think a lot of you, I'm sure a lot of people in the audience would make that mistake. All right, so be careful for letters like Y and P and F. They need to go above the line when you're writing capitals. Okay. All right, so yes, just watch those little things, but otherwise it's okay. I have no real problem with that writing. So it's just the use of capitals. Let's continue. Let's go on to spelling, everyone. Okay, another thing. How would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is poor, 10 is excellent, how are you with spelling? How are you with spelling? You can imagine on exam day, your examiner's got a red pen, everyone. Maybe they'll be making some red marks if you're making little errors. S can be lowercase there. Hamadullah for sincerely. Okay, a lot of good spellers. People are giving 8s, a couple of 2s though, 6s, 3s. Okay, so a bit of work to do there. Well, hopefully this session will just give you a few tips. Spelling is a big subject, everyone. We cover spelling in our live grammar classes at OET Online. We've got a lot of good specific worksheets to help you improve your spelling that we have developed, all in that medical context. And I'm just going to give you a snapshot, everyone. I'm going to give you a snapshot here. So let's begin. So a few basic rules, and some of these you might even know, some of these you might remember. So we've got some rules here. I before E, except after C. That's something that most native speakers were taught in their primary school years. But if there's a letter C, we always use I before E, except after C. We'll see that happen in a moment. We have a silent E spelling rule, the silent E. If a word ends in a silent E, then do not double the final consonant. So a vowel is A, E, I, O, U. The remaining letters are consonants. I'll show you that example in a moment. But here's an example. Ride, it's got a silent E. The E gives it a long vowel sound. Ride. When we use ing, we just remove the E and we do not double the consonant. Same with scale. That's got a long vowel sound, and we remove the E, scaling. That's going to become important in a minute. It's number 2, the silent E. Number 3, if the pattern is a consonant, then a vowel, then a consonant, and the stress is on the second syllable, gets complicated, then double the final consonant. Refer, refer. The stress is on the FER, refer. Then we double it, referring or referral. And submit, submit. Stress is on the second consonant, second syllable. Submitted, we double the T. Lastly, if the word ends in E, it makes a long vowel sound. So at becomes A, it becomes I, et becomes E, and so forth. Let's have a look at some examples. Now, just a question. Ab says the screen is blurred. Should be clear. That might be a net connection at your end. Is it crystal clear, everyone? Am I broadcasting clearly? Hope the internet is working okay. Just type in crystal clear if it's all working for you. Now, one thing we did, we got a list of the really commonly misspelled words. And some of these you might make. So I want you to correct these spellings, everyone. So this says sever, sever, right? You severed a leg. You cut the leg. That's spelt wrong. What we want to spell is the word severe. How do you spell severe? Thank you for that feedback, everyone. How do you spell severe? Another common one, appreciate, appreciate, that's not spelt right. Writing, receive, sincerely, grammar, professional, headache, headache, plain. See if you can correct these ones, everyone. So yes, severe, needs an E on the end. How many of you make that mistake? Don't. Avoid it. It's a very common error. Thank you, Ashina. Appreciate. Yes, it's a E sound. Appreciate. Remember that. Writing. Imagine on exam day, your first sentence, I am writing to refer, but you don't follow the rule. You don't follow the rule here. If the word ends in a silent E, do not double the final consonant. So we have to use writing. Thank you. Imagine that. I am writing. The third word you write, you make a spelling mistake. Don't do it. Next one, receive. The usual pattern is I before E, but except after C, we use the E first. Sincerely. Imagine the very last word you write on your exam, and you make a mistake. Not good. Not good. You don't want that red mark there. So it needs that extra E. Yep. Grammar. A lot of words end in ER, but grammar is the exception. It's AR. Professional. A lot of people are writing it in. 1 F. 2 S's. Headache. That's a but it's, if you put an E on it, it says here you get a long vowel sound. Ache, headache. That's important. It's a common medical condition. You need to memorize this. Now, this is not a plane up in the sky. This is a medical plan. Therefore, drop the E. We need a short vowel sound. Okay, some people misspell this word. This means tow, like tow a car. But we need the number 2. It's a very common error. Necessary, there's something wrong. There is spelled incorrectly. This says compliant, but I need complaint. This says advice, but I want the verb advise. This says spill, but I'm talking about a crying spell. Query. Oh, we may have queries in our conclusion, but it's spelt wrong, and brochure is spelt wrong. Okay, lots of people are fixing that up. Yep. 2 is TWO. Lock it in. Necessary. Needs. Yep, Sunil, well done. Yep. There. Well, there's 2 ways to spell there, but if it's their medical condition, it's EIR. That's an exception. Someone's written it in. Yeah, this word is compliant. Pavez says, how can I get a list of commonly misspelled words? Pavez, join us at OET Online. You'll get a big, long list and everything you need to know about spelling. Thank you, Lara. Advice. Advice. But I want the verb. This is a noun. What's the verb of advice? I can see a few people having trouble spelling the word query. Yes, Cindy got it. Well done, Cindy. Advice as a verb. Just remember, everyone, I should make that clear. That is a verb. Spill. Well, there is. I spilled a cup of water. I spilled something. All right. But really, what about a crying spell, everyone? A crying spell. Heidi asked, do I need to spell out numbers in writing? 2, 3, 4. Look, that's a very good question. Do I need to spell out writing numbers? Look, you can, and there is a rule below 10, you should spell it out. But I would say in medical writing, it's a report. I'm not against using the numbers. So I think both are acceptable. Because medical writing is like a report and your job is clarity, I think using numbers is acceptable. Okay. Yes, spell. That's a et sound. Query, a hard one to spell, is with an E, and brochure has an E on the end. All right. So, yes, now Amit asked a question. What about OET acceptance in Florida and Oregon and Canada? That's right. What about you people bound for the USA? How many people, just type in, which country do you want to work in the future? Do you want to work in the UK, Ireland? Do you want to work in Australia? Do you want to work in New Zealand? Or do you want to work in the USA or Canada? Type in where you'd like to work in the future. So there's a list, everyone. Keep an eye on that. There are just some of the commonly misspelled words that you should not misspell on exam day. A lot of people typing in UK or Ireland. Yep. We got some Canada, some saying Australia. Yep. Okay. All right. And if you're watching this video, maybe you're going for, think about what country you're going for. What impact does it have? Let's have a look. Well, first thing, I have good news. OET exam accepts UK or USA spelling, right? American spelling, British spelling, both acceptable. And countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, we tend to combine a little bit. But maybe Australia is 75% British, 25% Australian. Canadian might be 75% American, 25% British. So there is a blending. Okay, let's have a look. I want you to spell some words for me, everyone. I've got some definitions on the left, and I want you to spell me these words. So the first thing we're going to look at the difference between AE and just the straight E. Let's have a look. AE and E. Give me the medical word for iron deficiency. Iron deficiency. British spelling, American spelling. Have a go. Iron deficiency. Ab's got it, anemia, and Ab's gone for the USA spelling, but Vanitha's gone for the British spelling. That's right. So that's AE versus E. That's the difference. Both acceptable. And the next one, a drug that produces a complete loss of feeling. A drug that produces a complete loss of feeling before you undergo surgery. Two spellings, British, American. Type in the one you're comfortable with. Mel says, what about Germany? Well, in Germany, they spell it in German. I guess they'd accept both. Yeah, analgesia. Oh, no. Before an operation, yes, Clara got it. Anesthetics is the word I'm looking for. Vanitha and Mary as well. Two spellings, British and American, right? British has an extra vowel, right? You can put an S on the end, or anesthesia. Yep, both correct. A C-section. Expand on the case notes. A C-section. Haiti asks, is it possible for UK to have same flexible OET scoring as Ireland? I guess you've got to ask the medical boards, Haiti, on that one. Caesarean section. How do you spell caesarean? A C-section. Well done, Nanami. And if we spell in the US, it's spelled with an E. Only one S required there, Sonal. Okay, the next one. What are we looking at here? A smiling poo. Poo is informal. What's the formal word for this? What's the formal word for this? At least it's happy, medically speaking. Stool, yep. Stool is one word, but I'm going with Paul and feces. But there's two ways to spell it. Fecal is the adjective. Clara got it. Feces, A-E, or feces American without it. That's how you do it. Okay, a measuring tool. The GI, it's an index. What type of index is it? The GI measures what, the carbohydrates or something like that. Dietitians are familiar with this. We're moving on from feces. We're moving on to, someone's going to bring it up in a moment, the GI. It's an index. There's your hint. Glycemic, thank you, Gada. Gada spelt it in the American way, but we can also spell it in the British way. Now, if I'm Australian, I would spell the first 4 words in the British way, but I would switch, when it came to glycemic, I would switch to American. So in Australia, we do interchange. Okay, a type of blood cancer, everyone. A type of blood cancer, beginning with L. And I'll keep going through. HB, what's HB short for? I've got a restriction of blood supply to tissues. Interesting. A medical speciality that focuses on the musculoskeletal system. And the last one, a branch of medicine that involves medical care of infants, children, adolescents. So think about those ones that you know. Haiti asks a question. We'll come up to this later, but Haiti says, is it allowed to write British English in the first paragraph and then American English in the succeeding sentences or paragraphs? Basically, yes. The only thing you need to do, everyone, is you can spell different. You can apply different styles in your writing. You don't have to be consistent all the way through, because Australians and Canadians aren't, New Zealanders aren't, so you don't need to be. What you do need to do, though, once you spell a word one way, you should spell it if you repeat that word, don't change the spelling on the repeat word. That's it. Just be consistent with the words, but whether you use American or British, they're going to accept both. Okay, lots of good words coming in, everyone. Lots of good answers coming in here. So we have leukemia, 2 ways, A-E and just E. A type of HB, people are talking hemoglobin. So which do you prefer? Most people went British on hemoglobin, but a few went American, yeah. So it's a bit of an even amount. Escape of blood from a ruptured blood vessel. Yeah, that's hemorrhage, H-A-E again. Hemo meaning blood. Keep going. A restriction of blood supply to tissues. What did we get from that? Yes, ischemia. Nice, Happy Rose. Or ischemic. Yes, but we can spell it also. Has anyone spelled it the British way? Most people are going for the American way for this word. Interesting. Looks like American English is winning there. A medical specialty that focuses on the musculoskeletal system. Yes, well, you've joined 2 together, Ismail. Orthopedics, thank you, Morale. And you've gone British. Lovely. There's the British or the American. A branch of medicine that involves medical care of infants and children or adolescents. That involves, Ismail's got that one. Pediatrics, that's right. So we can spell it AE British or E American. All right, so that's AE versus E. Good news is both acceptable. All right, happy days. Let's do a few more. Okay, keep going on spelling. And I'll read these out. And this is OE versus E. Now, one of the hardest words to spell for many native speakers is the definition of loose, watery stools. Think about that. We've also got an autoimmune disorder affecting the lower intestine, shortness of breath, an unborn offspring, a swelling caused by excess fluid trapped in the body. All right, I can see. Well done, Atefe. Atefe's gone British. Claire has gone British, whereas Zaid's gone American. All right. Hats off to you. I'm always impressed when you can spell these words. Elena asked, can we use British spelling for some words and American spelling for other words? Yes, you can, as long as you're consistent. Diarrhea. Put the O in for British, remove it for just a simple EA. Okay, the autoimmune disorder. Has anyone put that in? What's an autoimmune disorder? This is a hard one. I'll give no one's got the second one. It begins with C, everyone. Begins with C. We're getting shortness of breath. We're getting unborn offspring. We're getting fetus. Path. Well done. Celiac disease. But who would have thought celiac, you don't even pronounce the O, celiac, but it is spelled British with an O. Celiac disease. All right. Let's keep going. Shortness of breath. A lot of people got that. Dyspnea. Again, the O is silent. Dyspnea. So is the P. P is a silent letter. An unborn offspring. People got that. Fetus. Fetus. What do you prefer? I prefer the O. I'm sticking with the British on these ones. All right. Below celiac, I may go American. And the last one, swelling caused by excess fluid, edema with an O. And some people have put it edema without the O. Which is easier, British or American? Which is easier for you? A lot of people say British. It's simpler, shorter, more direct, right? But a lot of people like tradition. They stand up. You know, people are very protective about spelling, all right? Good news is your language assessors aren't so protective. They will accept both. Okay, a few more, everyone. These are common. OUR versus OR. A person who lives next door. A person who lives next door. What do we call that? Red, yellow, blue are all what? The ability to find things funny means you have a sense of the last stage of pregnancy, or a mass of disease cells that may cause a lump. So we have OUR for British, OR for American. Yep, we got two spellings, neighbor, drop the U for American. Color, drop it for American. People are getting these ones, yes. the ability to find things funny. 2 words. We got humor, humor. The last stage of pregnancy. Might last for many, many hours. Labor. Thank you, Imran and Path. Yep. OUR for British. OR for American. A mass of disease cells that may cause a lump is known as a tumor with a U for British. O without it. Okay, so that's the basics, everyone. Now you know. And I've got one last lot, everyone. Well, actually, there's a few more here. A few more than I thought. Let's keep going. ISE versus IZE. Very, very common. To cause an egg or female or animal or plant to develop a new individual by introducing a male reproductive material. What are you doing? You are something the egg. You are something the egg. What are you doing? To be fully aware. What's a word that means that? To express sympathy. That means you. Well done, Winston. Fertilize. But I would always spell it with an S. I would stick to the British. Fertilization. Yes. To be fully aware. To be fully aware. You see a lot of people going for the American spelling there. The Z tends to dominate nowadays. We'll stand up for the British. All you people going to the UK, you're going to have to adjust your spelling styles when you live there. To be fully aware. Thank you, Winston. To realize. S British, Z if it's American. To express sympathy, something you need to do when you're communicating to your patients. Express sympathy. Yes, people are writing in conscious, that would be good, but in this case we're going, yes, conscious is another word. Don't forget conscious has the silent C. Empathize, thank you. Or, well, actually, I was going to say sympathize. Sympathize, thank you, Paul. S, British, Z, American. Okay, we'll keep going. RE versus ER. We're getting to the end, everyone. A few more. RE versus ER. 100 milliliters is how much? What's the word for a place in the middle? 100 millimeters is how much? Dietary material is a tricky one. Dietary material containing cellulose, lignin, and pectin, which are resistant to the action of digestive enzymes. See if there's your challenge. What dietary material contains these cellulose, lignin, and pectin and is resistant to enzymes? And a place where operations are performed. May not be what you first think. Okay, wow, people are doing really well here. I'm getting lots of American spelling and lots of British spelling. British is RE, liter, liter. Center, center. Meter, meter. All right, now as an Australian, all of these I will only do on the left. The ones on the right, the Americans, seem quite foreign to me. Perfectly acceptable. Fiber, fiber, and theatre, the operation theatre. Thank you, Chandra. Yes. And ER in US spelling. All right, so there you have it. Okay, so good news. People worry about that a lot. Just be consistent, everyone. And look, here's my advice. Oh, one more. I thought we were done. One more. The process of growing old. Assisting someone professionally. A substance that grows in damp, poorly ventilated areas. What would that be? The act of doing something repeatedly again and again. A soft, gel-like cushion in the spine that absorbs pressure. Think about your definitions. Tayaba, great. Mary, great. 2 ways to spell it. That's right. Aging with an E is British, American. Aging without the E. But for me, the American says agging, so it doesn't really work for me. I'll always put the E, aging, because it gives me the long vowel sound. But they're both correct. If you assist someone professionally, what word are we looking for there? Assisting someone in a professional manner. It's not support. This might be a little bit caring. We've got a few. This is a bit of a hard one. See if anyone gets it. Yeah, colleague, no, it's a bit, we need a clue for this one. Counselling, that was a hard one to get. Counselling has double L in British, single L in American. Counselling, counselling. So you'll see both. Now you know why. A substance that grows in damp, poorly ventilated areas. Some people said fungi. Looking for another word. Begins with M. Begins with M. Aiding, no. Looking for an M. Oh, nice, Zoya. Mold, but everyone's spelling it in the US. But British, M-O-U-L-D. How do you spell it? US or British? Moss, good choice, Clara. Moss is like that, but maybe not poorly ventilated. Okay, the act of doing something repeatedly, you're doing it now. You are practicing, aren't you? You're practicing your spelling. So how do we spell practice when it's a verb form? As a verb. To practice something. S or a C. British uses S. US uses C. That's why you see both. When it's a verb. When it's a noun, it's always spelt with a C. And the last one, now we've got the last one. A soft, gel-like cushion in the spine that absorbs pressure. What is it? What is it, everyone? Think about it. Good work, Princey. Good work, Vanita. Everyone's doing well. The disc, thank you. Thank you, Zoya. Disc with a C, British, K, US. There's a little bit of variation there. But disc is British and American, or even the optic disc as well. There's a little bit of variation, but you will see both. All right, British and American. Here's my tips, everyone. Look, people asked this before. Exam tips for spelling. Reading part A. Correct spelling is required. So copy and paste from the text. That's good news for reading part A, everyone. But if you misspell a word in reading part A, you will lose a mark. So double check. Take care. For listening, correct spelling is not essential for listening part A. Good news. But get your phonetics right. Make it sound the way that it's written. That's your challenge. but you don't have to spell all the words correct in listening part A. That means you can put more attention to listening to what you hear. Aaron says, what about mobilize or mobilize? Well, mobilize with an S, Aaron, is British. With a Z is American. Both correct. Just keep that in mind, everyone. Keep that in mind. Now, accuracy of spelling is assessed in writing. It's assessed. So avoid the commonly misspelled words like we spoke about today. This will create a good impression. Be consistent with your spelling. Don't spell it labor in one sentence and then with a U, then without a U in the next sentence, all right? Just be consistent, but you can intersperse US and British in one letter as long as you're consistent. And my suggestion, keep a list of words that you find hard to spell and make sure you review and practice them. All right? Hamdul says, how in reading part A the spelling is required? Because part A is not multiple choice, Hamadullah. You have to gap fill with the correct word. You need to spell it correctly. All right. And look, we've used a full hour. We've used a full hour. Wow. All right. Well, we normally have a Q&A, everyone. We're going to save the Q&A for next time because we've run out of time today. We had a lot to cover. All right. I'm just going to tell you a couple more things, everyone. Now, some people asked about how do I get a spelling list? How do I improve? All these things we covered today, covered in great detail on our website, everyone. Don't forget to come to OET Online. We've got live virtual classes, recorded video. Those classes are twice a day, every day. High quality content and lots of great skill building material. Do we have any OET Online students with us today in the audience? Anybody here from OET Online watching today who's already a student? If so, say hello. Yeah, we got everything you need. We got personal teacher support as well. We'll do your writing corrections, practice your speaking. It's a one-stop shop. If you are an OET Online student, would you recommend us to your fellow students here? Say yes, recommend if you would. All right. Be honest. It's your call. All right. But we do our best, everyone, to meet everybody's needs. All right. And just so you know, everyone, here's our schedule. We always have a class running at 10 a.m. Brisbane time. So, and then we alternate our night classes between, this is UK time. So 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. UK time, or 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. UK time. So we've got UK covered. And if you're in America or Canada, that 10 a.m. slot, great for you. That's 7 p.m. in New York on the East Coast. So Monday's grammar, Tuesday reading, also allied professions on Tuesday, Wednesday speaking, Thursdays listening, Fridays we have our doctors, nurses, OET writing for nurses only and doctors only. All right. Make sure you check us out. Mel says, how much for writing only? Well, visit us here, everyone, and get that information. Great value course options, everyone. So come to our website, oetonline.net.au, or if you've got a query, just send it to info@oetonline.net.au. All right. Thank you, Winnie, for recommending. Gada says, are exams running in UK in lockdown? I believe so. Thank you, Anne. Anne's recommending us. So don't believe me. Look at the other people recommending. Yep, we've got great reading material, Dusari. We make all our own material. Absolutely. All right. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Wish you good progress. Stay safe. Stay well. Bring on the vaccine. Let's get the world safe again. That'll be very good for you guys. Quick question. Has anyone here had the vaccine yet? I hope you have the opportunity to keep yourselves safe as your work environments are obviously challenging. So good luck to you, everyone, and good luck in your OET exams. Bye for now.